Welcome to History Now Studios. Today, we blend hard historical facts with an epic original mythology to explore the deeps. In ancient times, real civilizations built massive underground bunkers to hide from terrible invasions and brutal weather. But what if an entire human empire fled completely beneath the heavy earth to escape an apocalyptic solar flare long ago? This is the tragic and truly terrifying legend of Oakhaven, the glorious sunless city trapped in the absolute dark abyss. When the sky burned with pure, devastating fire, millions of desperate adults blindly dug deep into the cold mountain rock. They sealed the massive iron gates permanently, entirely abandoning the beautiful green surface world to the violent ash. Without the grand, life-giving sun, the incredibly resourceful survivors relied on huge glowing veins of blue crystal now. These heavy, magical stones provided both warm heat and a dim, eerie light for their massive new subterranean architecture. Over many centuries, the truly isolated human population violently mutated to survive the heavy, crushing pressure below. Their eyes grew incredibly large and completely black, perfectly adapted to see in the pitch-black shadows of the cavern. To replace lost surface beasts, they fully domesticated massive blind subterranean wolves with incredibly thick gray fur. The glorious sunless city was ruled by a highly secretive caste of adult priests who fiercely hoarded the blue crystals. They constructed a truly massive, towering cathedral of dark obsidian stone directly in the center of the giant abyss now. But the deep magic of the glowing crystals demanded a truly horrific price from the heavily reliant, desperate population. The eerie blue light slowly poisoned their mortal minds, driving many brave adult warriors into an absolute dark madness. Those deeply infected by the crystal sickness were ruthlessly exiled to the very lowest, pitch-black mining caverns now. Over centuries, these forgotten exiles devolved into terrifying, heavily armored shadow beasts known only as the Crawlers. The great sunless city was constantly forced to defend its massive stone walls against these brutal, dark mutants. Elite guards wearing heavy obsidian plate armor stood on the high battlements, armed with incredibly sharp, glowing spears. In our actual historical timelines, magnificent ancient cities like Troy truly fell due to war and severe resource famine. Oakhaven faced the exact same tragic fate when the grand central vein of blue crystal began to quickly fade into darkness. Panic violently erupted in the claustrophobic underground streets as the terrifying shadows slowly crept over the temples. Desperate priests demanded horrific blood sacrifices to appease the fading magical crystals and completely restore it now. The civilized adults completely turned on each other, tearing the massive subterranean utopia into a bloody, violent hell. In the massive chaos, the massive iron gates separating the city from the lowest dark caverns were violently broken open. Thousands of truly terrifying mutated crawlers flooded into the grand city, overwhelming the desperate and tired guards. The incredibly magnificent obsidian cathedral was quickly overrun, its dark halls echoing with the screams of the fallen. Today, a brave modern adult explorer mapping deeply uncharted cave systems completely stumbled upon the terrifying ruins of Oakhaven. He found huge, deeply shattered obsidian towers completely covered in thick, pale subterranean moss in the absolute dark. Holding a brightly glowing modern flare, he illuminated the tragic bones of a highly advanced, totally forgotten race now. The real history of our human survival is completely filled with stories of incredible adaptation and intense pain. But the deeply disturbing legend of Oakhaven perfectly forces us to ask what humanity might become in the absolute dark. Could we truly maintain our high morality and grand civilization without the warm guiding light of the bright sun today? The terrifying, massive ruins of the Sunless City stand as a haunting monument to the absolute limits of human endurance. In our epic fantasy worlds, the darkest magic is usually cast by evil, twisted sorcerers seeking total, absolute power now. But the very true horrors of actual history often arise from desperate, incredibly good people trying hard to stay alive. The glowing crystals that completely saved the desperate citizens of Oakhaven ultimately became their terrifying doom now. When we deeply explore both absolute cold historical facts and highly epic mythologies, we discover our truest human self. The very line between a perfectly civilized adult and a totally feral beast is incredibly fragile as a bright blue gem now. What completely fascinating historical myth or highly original dark fantasy lore should we explore in our next epic tale? At History Now Studios, we are deeply dedicated to shining a very bright light into the absolute darkest ancient corners. There are still incredibly massive mysteries completely buried entirely beneath the dark soil of our old ancient planet. We invite you to bravely descend into the abyss with us, searching fiercely for the absolute ultimate reality. Together, we can entirely rewrite the complex history books and fully build truly magnificent new dark fantasy universes. Thank you for watching History Now Studios. Please heavily subscribe to completely uncover absolute epic myth and legend.